We are going to be painting the mirrors on the truck. The video sole purpose here is how to paint textured plastic. Plastic is always a kind of, it's almost like people getting into painting chrome. They're very afraid of it having sticking issues and all that stuff. So I'm going to show you what you would need to ensure you have a nice product stick to the surface, and then also the best product you can use to avoid rock chips and things like that. Biggest thing you're gonna want to have, especially with plastic, is an adhesion promoter. So this is gonna obviously do exactly what it says. It's going to promote adhesion, ensure that you get a proper and lasting stick to the product. A filler primer, it is textured, it's not very textured. I'm going to be sanding it, but if there are any sanding marks, any texture left over that I may have not have gotten, the filler primer is going to be the choice here to fill in all your scratches and gaps and things like that. From there, you're going to want a primer sealer. So this is going to ensure a proper bond between your top coat, which is your paint, and your primer. Also, a lot of primers are very, I don't want to say porous, but even dry, they will absorb paint. So the primer sealer is going to lock out that primer from sucking up any of your base coat, so you're going to get the smoothest, brightest finish possible out of your top coat. So then you'll have your base coat, whichever color you are wanting to paint your mirrors. I have the Duplicolor, the perfect match for the bright white of the Chrysler products, which is GW7 is my color code. And then I will specifically be using the aerosol 2K Clearcoat made by Spray Max. So this is a 2-component clear. It has the catalyst on the bottom where you take the cap, press it in, it releases, and then it has the hardener inside. So this is the 2-component is the exact same that you would have on like your auto body paint, like the actual clear coat that's on your vehicle. So it's going to be very hard, very durable. It's going to keep it has great UV protection, solvent protection, so the paint is not going to fade or anything like that. Much better quality than, say, this, just a enamel clear coat that you can buy for, $3, $4, $5. This was $20 for this. If you're spraying a 2K clear coat, which I recommend for anything exterior, like I said, you're gonna want that nice hard finish to avoid rock chips, things like that, bugs. It's gonna having the harder, better clear coat. That's all going to help out in the long run. With the 2K, because it has the catalyst and the extra ingredients inside, it is very dangerous to breathe in. So you're going to want a respirator. You're going to want a respirator anyways anytime you're spraying anything aerosol. And then I have Tech Cloth, which of course you just rub to get any dust, debris, anything you have. It's got the sandpaper that I'm going to be using. Got the 80, 180, 400, and then the 1500 pack. I'm really just focusing on the 80, the 180, and the 400. I'm hoping that just the 180 will be good enough to level this down. That's what I'm going to start with, but if not, I will go to the 800 or the 80, and then go back and smooth it all out with the 400 before I put down the primer. After the primer is laid down, it is a filler primer, so it is sandable. I will be using a 600 grit to smooth out the primer before the base coat. Wax and tar remover and the isopropyl alcohol, of course. Oops. Paper towels, masking tape, and then I forgot this as well. You don't have to have this. You can use newspaper, whatever you have, but some sort of masking paper. You're going to sand anything as you want to use alcohol, a wax and grease and tar remover, anything of that such, because if there are any waxes, any chemicals on this, when you go to sand it, you're just going to gum up your sandpaper, and it's not going to sand evenly and properly. So I'm gonna go ahead and give these a nice wipe down here. You're gonna want gloves. Of course, your fingers and hands have dirt, oil, debris on them, you know, just natural oils from your skin that could affect the way the paint lays down or anything like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a new paper towel. So now what you're gonna wanna do is you can go ahead and get into the sanding portion. Like I had mentioned, I'm going to start with 180 just to kind of give me a feel, because you don't want to, you know, start digging into this thing with 80 grit and then you're just spending more time trying to level it later. If you can get the surface that you are looking for with a lighter sandpaper, by all means do so. That will save you time in the long run. Oh, again, I forgot to mention, sorry, I'm blanking lately today. Before you sand, because you don't want to hit anywhere that you're not sanding, like I just have this nice outline here that I'm going to be painting. Anywhere you don't want to sand, you're going to want to tape off so you don't bump that with the sandpaper. This is what it's looking like. So if you've ever sanded, wet sanded Clearcoat to where you're looking for just that dull finish and you're looking to get rid of the texture, basically the same thing. So you're kind of sanding out orange peel. Alright, so here is a full sand of the 180. Got up underneath. There's no gloss left. There's none of the texture. All that is left is the sanding marks, which the 400 grit will take care of. Okay, so here's everything knocked down with the 400. So obviously it's not going to change much. It'll change texture wise from what you can feel, and then you may notice it's a little glossier as well. So all it's done obviously is it's taken out the deeper imperfections of the 180. So now I'm going to go ahead and wipe this all down with alcohol, wax, and grease remover and see what it looks like. May sand it again with the 400 just to be safe. And we will get ready to start spraying. Alright, so here's how nice it's looking after the wax and grease remover. So you can tell texture difference here. It's all gone, all sanded down. So what I'm going to do, because I didn't actually sand any of it down, but I did roll up a couple pieces of tape. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to peel it all off just in case anything that I sanded got trapped down in the tape. I do not, when I, you know, with the aerosol, it may kick up dust. I want this mirror as spotless, as clean as possible before I start to spray it. Okay, so my adhesion promoter is all shaken up. I have good ventilation. Doggos. Got the door open here, flowing through the garage here, and then I have the fan pulling out as much as possible. Okay, so because I had to take the time to secure the table down, I am going to wipe the tack cloth again. Adhesion promoter. So if you've watched any of my videos previously, you know how spraying works. You want to start spraying off the surface, end off the surface. You're doing a 50% overlap. So I did my 3 coats of adhesion promoter, so I'm done with that. I can get that out of the way. Next will be the filler primer. So the filler primer is, you're going to do 2 light coats and then 1 medium wet coat. And you allow, this one is 10 minutes in between each coat. And then after 30 minutes is when you can wet or dry sand it. And just like before the adhesion promoter, come back to that tack cloth tack it down. This is what it's looking like. As you can see, the scratches that were there filled in very nicely. So I'm going to sand it, get it as smooth as possible, and then we will spray the sealer. So we need to give it a half hour before you sand it. So I'll check back with you guys, which is in a second to you. Alright, so it is primer sealer time. Both mirrors have been primed, sanded down with 600 grit, cleaned with a wax and grease remover. Time for the sealer. So the sealer is like the adhesion promoter. So with this, you're going to be putting down a light coat, waiting 2 to 3 minutes, putting down another light coat, 2 to 3 minutes, another light coat, and then you can go right into the base coat. So it's a lot like the adhesion promoter. Alright, so I don't know if you can see it or not. You kind of, right there. I was completely my fault. Didn't take into account that it's, you know, now 9:30 plus at night. And it's like 50 degrees, and drying time is based on 70 degrees of the 10 minutes. So I waited the 10 minutes, touched it, still wet, put a fingerprint in it. So I hurried up, hit it with a quick heavy coat to kind of blend it. But it's going to take a good half hour. So I'm going to leave it to dry overnight, and I will talk about, if you have to do the same, what you need to do when you have let the sealer dry completely in order to put the base coat down. So I will pick this back up tomorrow. I'll see you guys in the morning. Alright guys, welcome back. It is now the morning. The primer sealer is dry. I'm going to be using, just like with the regular primer, I'm going to be using the 600 grit sandpaper again. This is going to scuff the surface back up and allow for paint adherence. Taking the wax and grease remover, we'll clean off the surface. Alright guys, so in the process of my camera charging, I went ahead and painted my one mirror. I'm still going to show you how to paint it with that mirror. Just want to show you that this is the 4th coat. Unfortunately, I'm almost out of paint here. So my dad's coming because Harper's sleeping, and my truck doesn't have any mirrors, so I'm going to use his truck. Go grab some spray paint, and be right back with you guys, and I will show you how to turn that into this. Okay, so we're finally back here, ready to start spraying the other mirror, and then we can get the clear coat. So of course, tap cloth before, any base coat. So remember, start off it, finish off it. Okay. So that's the first coat. I'm pitching that can because if it gets any lower, there's a high possibility it's going to start throwing globs like it did right there. So there is, which is fine when I get enough coats on of good spray, it will cover that. That won't be a big issue. Alright, so there's 3, much heavier coat. You can see it's starting to get a real nice gloss to it. Now we're going to hit it with a 4th. So they will both have the same amount of coats. That one has 4 like I mentioned, so this one will get its 4th. And then we are ready for Clearcoat where it gets real serious. All ready to go here. Got my hoodie, got my pants, got my gloves on, which is not staying under. You know, is this a professional setup? Of course not. But I'm not a professional. This is DIY stuff. I'm taking as much precaution as possible. Could I have a painter suit? Sure. But this will work. Do you have to use this clear coat on your, if you're repainting your mirrors? No, of course not. Are you going to get the same hardness, same finish, and same longevity out of it? No, of course not. This was $20+ a can. Those are 3. So with the 2K, you have to take the cap off here. You place it on the bottom, and you push. Until it goes soft and you can feel it break. So from there, you shake it for 2 minutes. That's one way to get the cap off. So with this clear, you're going to get, it's a very large fan. Much like if you were spraying out of a paint gun. It's trying to keep it as realistic as possible. And then if you are using the 2K clear coat, make sure before you take your mask off or anything, you step outside away from where all the fumes are. The flash time for this is 5-10 minutes. Because it has the hardener, it dries very quickly. So we're going to go ahead and here, just wait a few minutes, get in here, bang the second coat out. With the 2K clear coat, if you do not know, because it has the hardener and the catalyst inside, it is hardening itself inside the can. You do have a time limit with the can. I've read an hour, and I've read some people say 3 hours. So basically, I've put 3 coats on, waited 10 minutes in between each coat. So it's already been, you know, I've worked with the can for 30-35 minutes now. I am going to go ahead and go with a 4th just because I do want to sand these. There are a couple little imperfections that I'm hoping that I can sand out. A piece of dust landed in it, and then I tried to get it with the tack cloth, and it didn't work. And there's also a little hair that landed in it. Both on my driver's side, of course, the one that I'll see the most as I'm getting in. But like I said, I'm going to put a 4th on because I am going to wet sand these down. So I want it to be as thick of a mill as possible on the clear coat so I don't burn through it. So just finished 3rd coat, about 10 minutes, we'll lay the 4th down, and I will show you the finished product. Alright, look how freaking sick these look. Oh my goodness, I don't even know if you're going to be able to pick it up because that white is so bright. Couple imperfections, like I said, there's a hair right in there that fell in. Got my mini me with me here. And then just a little right there where the tape folded back. That ain't no big deal. That can scrape off. So you can see I mean, that rock hard finish, if you want that, you're gonna need the 2K. Hey, alright guys, so that is the video. That is how you paint textured plastic. This is gonna hold up, it's not gonna crack. So, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up for me. Please subscribe for more videos to come. I apologize, the sun is very bright, but until next time, peace!